If you are running a home lab, there is probably a ton of stuff you are already self-hosting. So in this video, I'm going through 7 of my favorite self-hosted apps. We will cover everything from managing containers, managing passwords, and even running your own email server. And don't worry, I'm not going to talk about the apps that everyone and their grandma are already using, so enough talking, let's get started. Dockhand gives you a clean web interface for managing your Docker environments. So you see all your containers in one place, you can start and stop them, you can also open a shell, and manage things like images, volumes, and even networks. But what I really like about Dockhand is that you can work with Docker composes. So you can go to stacks right here, then you can just click on create. Here you can write your Docker compose file, and right here you can add the environment variables. And if you have multiple Docker servers, you can also manage them from only one interface. So as you see, I have 2 servers right here, and I can manage both of them from this interface. And now that we've got our containers under control, let's move on to something that you really don't want to lose control of, your passwords. And it's Vault Warden. With Bitwarden, you can have one secure place for all your passwords. There is also a browser extension, desktop apps, mobile apps. You can also create secure notes, folders to FA codes, and basically everything else that you will need from a password manager. So as you can see right here, if you want to log into Facebook, let's say, you can just click on any login field and just select the account you want to log in with. This is how the smartphone app looks like. So you can browse your passwords, generate passwords. You can also save your credit card infos, which is really useful to autofill some forms on any like Amazon website or similar. And it can also autofill passwords for you. But, and this is really important, if you want to self-host your password manager, you have to make sure that you are making backups, because your password manager will be the only place that contains your passwords, and if you lose it, you will lose access to many things. I already have a full video on how to self-host your password manager. If you want to do this, I will link it down in the description box. And once you have all these services running, there is another question you need to answer. Are they actually working? That's where Uptime Kuma comes in. Uptime Kuma is a self-hosted monitoring and uptime monitoring application. And the concept is really simple. You tell it what you want to monitor, and Kuma keeps checking whether it's actually available. So as you see right here, I am managing my Nextcloud, my image, my firewall, and my password manager. But the really useful part is notifications, because the whole point of monitoring isn't to sit there staring at dashboard all day. You want Kuma to tell you when something is wrong, so you can connect it to something like Discord. You also get historical uptime and response time informations. Now let's move away from servers for a second and talk about something that is probably sitting in your drawers for years. And I'm talking about this ugly dude right here. So you have, for sure, many of documents, many of papers, PDFs sitting on your PC. I hate it. And if you want to get rid of all these papers, you have to go paperless, NGX. Paperless is basically a document management system for your home. Think about all documents you have. Your invoices, receipts, contracts, insurance documents. Paperless lets you turn all of these into searchable documents. So paperless actually scan your documents for the text inside them, and then you can just search for the words inside the documents, and then you can find them. Paperless can also organize stuff based on tags, correspondence, document types, and storage paths. Not only this, you can also automate stuff. So you can say all documents that have the word Linux in, they get a tag called Linux. You can also give paperless access to your email account and tell it every time I get a new email with any type of document attached, upload this document to paperless automatically. I just made a video about self-hosting paperless. I will link it in the description box for you. Now we have a really big bad boy, which you only have to self-host if you really know what you are doing. Because in the self-hosting world, the hardest service to self-host is your email. But don't worry, because MailCow make it really easy. MailCow is basically a complete email server suite that runs using Docker. Instead of manually setting up all the different pieces required to run an email server, MailCow bundles a lot of them together into one system. So you get spam filtering using RSPANPT, D, or whatever it's called. You get antivirus, webmail using Sogo. This is how it looks like. Mailcow supports multiple domains, so if you have like 2 or 3 domains, I'm talking about really your own .com domains, you can use them to send emails from Mailcow. I know maybe it sounds complicated, but I made a video showing how to install it in about 10 minutes, so I will link that video in the description box for you. If you decided to self-host your email server, it's best to install it on a VPS, because if you install it on your home server, you may face multiple problems. Like in the most cases, your ISP gives you a dynamic IP, which means your router may get a new IP address after a reboot, which is not so good if you are self-hosting your email. And mail is a really major service, so you have to make sure that your server is running 24/7. DigitalOcean is a reliable VPS hoster. They have prices for every need, so they start by about $4 a month. For Mailcow, I would recommend going with this option at least, with 1 GB of RAM, 1 virtual CPU, 25 GB SSD, and this is for $6 a month. Now that you have a lot of servers and VMs for all your self-hostable apps, it's time to find something that make SSHing to your servers easier. And to solve this problem, we have Termix. Termix gives you a single interface to manage all your servers. So you see right here, the dashboard really looks very nice. You have some information about Termix itself, and here you see your SSH and RDP clients. You can also see which of them are online and which are offline. So if I open any one of them, let's say Donkey, you see right here I have CPU usage, memory usage, disk, uptime, some system informations, and some networks. But this is not the main function of Termix. The main one is connecting to servers using SSH and RDP. And to do this, you can just open the folder. I want to connect to Donkey, let's say. I can just select it and click on connect. And it's that easy. Now this is the terminal of my Linux VM. So I can type commands and everything. I can copy and paste, and it supports multiple windows. So let's open Importy. As you see, I have multiple tabs right now. They also have the so-called snippets, which are some pre-configured commands. So I created this one. If I want to update any system, I can just connect to it and click on run. Not only this, you can also browse the files on your servers. So you can just click on files right here, and now you can browse the files using your web interface. Now the last app on the list, and one of my favorites, if you have a smartphone, and I think you have, there is a pretty big chance that you are uploading your photos to something like iCloud or Google Photos. And honestly, if you trust them with your photos, you are watching the wrong channel. But don't worry, I have the solution for you. With Image, you can save all your photos to your server. Image is a digital photo cloud that can auto-upload your photos from your smartphone to your server. This is how the web interface of Image looks like. So it is modern, fast, and feels like actual photo app. You got timeline for your photos, albums, you can share your photos with some friends, you can create partner accounts. It uses a type of local AI, so you can search for stuff like car, let's say. And you see right here, it can auto-detect stuff, and then you can search for your photos easily. It also has face recognition, so it auto-detects faces from your photos. The smartphone app can auto-upload the photos from your smartphone, which makes you sure that all your photos ended in one place. So with Image, you are taking something that normally lives entirely inside the cloud ecosystem, and you bring it back under your control. Your photos are sitting on your own hardware, using your own storage. But there is one very important thing you have to think about. You have to make backups for your image. Because yes, all the photos will end on your hardware, at your home, but your hard drive may have a failure, or you may delete your VM by mistake, I've been there, which can lead to losing all your photos. So that's why always make backups. And if you ask me how I back up my home lab, well, I don't, because real men make no backups. And that was the video for today. Now I showed you 7 of my favorite self-hostable apps. Like I told you before, I have dedicated videos for most of these products. I will list them in the description box for you. And if you have any self-hostable apps you want me to try, just let me know in the comments, and maybe I will feature them in the part 2 of this video. And as always, if you run into any problem, just let me know in the comments. I did my part, I showed you the self-hostable apps, now you are in. Consider supporting the channel by becoming a member, so you can pay a few dollars a month and you get some benefits, you can see them under this video, or you can buy me a coffee if you think I deserve it. And if you can't do any of these, your like and subscribe are more than enough. Also make sure to take a look at this playlist where I show you many amazing self-hostable apps. So thank you for watching and see you the next time. This is Libre-Data and we are just getting started.